2:37 on October 8th. I'm going to call today's College Senate meeting to order. We gave it a couple of minutes to start because I know people are coming from various campuses and various activities prior to the meeting, including myself. I'm coming from city, so I was on my way like a wild woman. Jeremy, thank you. He walked by my classroom and was like, "Come on, we got to go." I was like, "Thank you." I'm like, "I got to go." So very exciting. So we're mid-October, which is, I can't believe it's mid-October. I haven't even started shopping for Halloween costumes yet for my children, and I feel like that's going to be tomorrow. And then before that is, of course, midterms. So I'm kind of, I got my weekend cut out for me. I got to make my exam and my review sheets for next week so that I'm ready for midterm exams. It's just going by so fast. And then now it's raining. It wasn't raining 5 minutes ago, and now it's pouring. So that'll have you, right? We're right at that point where we've switched over from the warmth of the summer. Now we're in sweater weather, which is exciting, but the sunshine also went away, and I am a big fan of the sunshine. So I don't know. I know several people are more excited about the cooler weather. So I guess that's where we all kind of differ a little bit. So anyway, there are a few items that are worthy of announcements on the floor versus during, for the good of the order. A couple of exciting events that I've learned about in the last day or two. So I'm going to actually kind of call on some senators while they're here or representatives to talk about them real quick. So I'm going to call our athletic director, Steve Mullen, to tell us about a cool opportunity with our football team. Steve?
Yeah, so on November 1st, over here in the Bell Center, our athletic trainer set it up with our team doctor, and it's a partnership with UBMD, the NFL, the Buffalo Bills, and part of Erie County's Heart Safe Erie County, where our football team, student athletes and coaches will be learning hands-on CPR over there. So it should be a nice event for our student athletes to enjoy. Thank you.
Wait a minute, Steve, you're not going to talk about the game?
They did win. They won. It was a close game right to the end. It was an excellent weekend for our student athletes as our volleyball team won both, and our soccer team came away with a tie. So it was an undefeated weekend for our student athletes. So that was very good.
It's awesome. Thank you, Steve. That was a great homecoming weekend for our ECC Cats. I was at the football game on Saturday, saw several people that are here at the football game as well, which is always nice to see support from fellow faculty and staff for our students at their extracurricular activities. We also have some really cool stuff coming up from the business department at South Campus. I'm going to have Colleen Ungst talk about that real quick.
So we have a speaker series coming to South Campus presented by the Business Administration Department. 3 dates that you can put on your calendars or tell your students about, encourage them to attend. You'll see more coming out about this hopefully in the next week or so from the marketing department and from our department. But first thing on October 23rd from 12 to 1 in the library at South Campus. We will be hosting the Martin Group, which is a local advertising agency. Two VPs of creative operations are going to come talk about their New Era CAP and NFL campaign that they executed, so giving the students a behind-the-scenes look into that very cool campaign. Then on October 28th, same location, South Campus Library from 12 to 1 p.m. We have some executives from Westher coming in and talking about marketing strategies and building community relationships. They'll be speaking specifically about several of their campaigns that they've executed in the Western New York market and their digital media and content strategy. And then we have Hunt Real Estate coming on November 13th at 11. And same location, South Campus Library. And Peter Hunt, the chairman and CEO of Hunt Real Estate, as well as Dan Mirsky, the chief marketing officer of Hunt Real Estate, is going to speak on the topic, Sell Yourself and Stand Out in a Crowded Market. So all things obviously very much applicable to our business administration students, but some really interesting topics for your students that are looking to get careers in the field. Please send them down.
Awesome. Thank you, Colleen, and Business Administration. Does anyone have any questions for Colleen? So for those that missed it, there is no lunch with that. And then actually, as a friendly reminder, if you want to be recognized by the chair, you have to raise your hand. If you want to speak, you have to go to a microphone, and it's not because I don't think any of you can project your voice. It's because of those on the stream. Right? So if people are watching the stream, they cannot hear you unless you speak into a microphone. All right. And then lastly, there was one other, hang on, I got to pull it up. I had it up a second ago and it went away. All right. There is, and actually we have the documents for this posted on the Senate site. It's the Public Good U. Save the date. All right, there it is. It's Friday through Sunday in February in Albany. And it's Public Good U. They're accepting proposals to present papers, panels, facilitated discussion forums, ignite sessions, and pre-conference workshops that explore the vital role of public higher education as a public good in the 21st century. So there are more detailed information available on this website here, but the deadline to submit an abstract is Sunday, October 27th. So if this is something that you are interested in, again, the website is down actually in this yellow section, www.suny.edu Public Good U. Click it, and if you want to be part of any of those sessions that again are also highlighted on the document I have up, October 27th is the deadline for that. So another really exciting opportunity for those of us in higher ed. Okay, so with that, that ends the report of the chair. And I'm going to turn it over to the president's report for Dr. Adiam Sagai.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Thank
afternoon.
you. So I want to take the time to just thank everyone for participating in the inauguration. It was an extraordinary moment personally as well as for the college, so thank you so much for us. And the best moment of that was obviously my two children, but most importantly our students and our faculty being there, so thank you for participating on that. Just a few things I want to update, and then I'm going to have a few of our folks also give some update. With regards to our facility, I know we had the meeting at the South Campus a couple weeks ago regarding some facility updates, and I know one of the things that I was asked, and certainly I want to honor that, is to communicate to the college community, but also to the larger community outside the college to make sure that people know that we have present at South and that we are in the process, obviously, of relocating, but we want to make sure that people know, including our college community and our students, that we are offering programs and courses at South. So that communication will be coming out soon from myself through either the president's office or the marketing. The other piece, I know we talked about having a third party to facilitate the discussion about the new location for the South Campus. That is in the works. It's just the logistic behind of how to do that and making sure that we're following all the steps. And by that I mean it's just to make sure that we have the right sort of third party to help us. So that should be coming up soon to make sure that we are doing that. And so we are trying to stay on time, on schedule to do that before the holidays, particularly the Thanksgiving holidays, to make sure that our faculty and staff and certainly our students specifically at South, but more importantly, the entire college community has a perspective on the new location. So that's more to come. With that, I'm going to leave a couple of things to Eric to update on that, Colleen. I know there was particularly as it relates to the facility, maybe Adrian. I know I saw him. Where are you, Adrian? Okay, wherever you, good. Can you just give a little bit of update about the K building for me, please? Thank you.
So can everyone hear me? So since we last met, the college reached out, the IRAP office reached out and surveyed all the faculty that are currently actively teaching in K-Building, and we've been taking in that input, and when we see things that we can act on, we of course reached out to the faculty members. So one example of some of the input that we got from the faculty was that they needed larger teaching tables and podiums for the English and Humanities faculty, which we did reach out to them, and then of course as they asked for them, we provided those kinds of things. We also reached out to faculty who were wanting new rooms to switch their rooms from ones they were currently in to a different room that better suited their teaching. We did reach out to those faculty. The registrar's office sent out instructions on how faculty could locate rooms within Workday and then work with their deans to switch the rooms. Those that didn't do that, I had the academic deans reach out to all their faculty and just let them know that if there was an issue finding a room or if they had some technical hurdles or something like that they were working against, to let them know, and we would work through all those things. We do want to make sure that everyone is aware that as we're doing scheduling that we're going to have to be very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, deliberate about how we schedule our classrooms for the upcoming semester, because as we enter the phases of renovation in K-Building, there is going to be some disruption. So make sure that as you're scheduling your classes, as we go through this process, because it's going to be an ongoing thing, that you're being very deliberate about where you schedule your classes so that we can minimize things like this in the future. Of course, the administration will work with any faculty member who has concerns about either the furniture in the classrooms or the room itself to try to find a room that more better suits their needs.
Thank you.
Great. Does anyone have any questions for Adrian? All right, thank you. Adia?
All right, thank you. So, again, we also mentioned about making sure that we communicate with regards to updating any faculty facility, and that's still coming. We just want to make sure the information is accurate and it's relevant, right? So that's really important that we do that. I know pertaining to facility, the heat was a problem today, for example. It was cold in some areas. I know the library was cold, so our facility folks are going to do their best to adjust. I know we have some outdated building. The weather changes, as Colleen was describing, so we will do everything we can to adjust appropriately. So just bear with the facility folks as they are responding to the need of the college community. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about this idea of student engagement, right? And sport is one of them. And I have to tell you, I certainly been making a concert effort to participate in as many sport activity as possible, because as we know, sport brings everyone together, and our students, and we have wonderful team. And I know Steve Mullen, I tell him all the time, you should brag more, because if I were you, I would be bragging. And they're not just doing mediocre work, they're doing excellent work as it relates to sport. But equally, we also want to encourage those students to make sure that they're doing well academically. So that's the part that we want to do consistently. But in terms of student engagement, and Eric is going to spend some time talking about enrollment, we did finalize our list. We did do our never attend, and Eric will speak to that. I would tell you it's a lot better than how it was before, certainly an opportunity for us to improve. But our biggest challenge, as we know, is retention, right? Enrollment, positive, right, for fall, and Eric, again, will go in details, but the key is that our students are here right now, and so we need to engage with them both in and outside the classroom. And so anything that we could continue to do that will continue to set us well in terms of that. Angelica will also speak a little bit after Eric about some of the marketing effort that we're doing, but the marketing effort is not just to get new students, right? It's also to retain our current students. And so some of the things that we're doing and some of the things that Colleen and team highlighted, we want to advertise that. We want to market that internally, so that people know, our faculty and staff and our students know that we have these great events that are happening at the college to engage them as much as possible. So engagement is the key for us to do that. And again, thank you for all the work that you do both in and outside the classroom to continue to engage our students. So with that, I'll weigh on Eric's. Thank you.
Eric?
Do you want me to give my update now, or do you want me to wait for the old business?
Yeah, you can do it now. That's
Okay.
no problem.
So in the agenda, you'll see under old business the enrollment report, so I'll give those here. So looking at fall of 2024 at this time, as I reported at our September meeting, the preliminary numbers were suggesting that we were seeing an increase overall in headcount and FTEs. That still holds true here at this point compared to where we were last year at this time. Those vetted numbers will then come from SUNY later in the fall semester. But preliminary analysis suggests that the increase may be largely coming from our incoming student population, which is really great to see the demand for SUNY Erie within the community. And as Dr. Sagai highlighted, as we look at efforts to focus on our retention of students and engaging with students to help them then persist and retain to then graduation is key. Speaking of our ability to recruit for new students, we do have our fall open house that are scheduled. I know Mary and I appreciate the Senate last meeting had put up on the screen the poster for it. Excellent, thank you. We have one that's committed to each day. So starting on November 12th, we'll be at City Campus. November 13th at South Campus, November 14th, then at North Campus. For each of those 3 days will then be from 4 to 6 p.m. One of the things that we started to communicate in collaboration with the academic as well as the Dean of Students, academic deans and deans of students, is encouraging both our faculty, staff, but also student support services to talk about the value add of SUNY Erie. Not only the financial benefits, but the career success, transfer success, as well as also the specific value add that their program brings to individuals in the community. SUNY is having a free application week that I want the college community to be aware of. That is scheduled to begin on October 21st through November 3rd. This is a statewide as well as out-of-state initiative that SUNY is promoting to help students to apply within the SUNY system. And then yesterday we did launch the Connects Ed platform for our admissions, our bursar, financial aid, the registrar's office, and the ASAP programs. This is in conjunction with our Title III grant, our SEM plan, and the strategic pillar looking at student success and empowerment. The link is available there on the MyECC portal. Thank you. We were working with the team. We had actually a representative from Connects Ed that was here on site yesterday and today, Abby. She did a tremendous job working with the leadership of those respective areas. This platform here is a mobile and web-based platform that helps students to then be able to connect with our student services areas. As I mentioned in our September meeting, phase 1 was those areas that I was mentioning. Then we'll be rolling out to other areas of the institution as we go throughout the academic year, including faculty and staff areas. So those are the ones right now that are up and live: ASAP, admissions, bursar, financial aid, and a registrar office. And last FYI for individuals, placement testing here at North. We have continued our operations on Wednesday, changed the hours slightly from 1 to 4 p.m. and is located now in the Dry Library in room 101A.
Great. Any questions for Erickson? All right, back to you.
Quick update on the marketing, just for.
All right, yep. Monica for marketing, please.
Thank you.
Oh, there you go.
Good afternoon. So yeah, we got a lot of updates. We've been very busy in the marketing communications department. In about, I would say, 3 to 4 days, you guys are going to start seeing advertisements popping up at the Buffalo Niagara International Airport. You're also going to start seeing advertisements popping up on NFTA buses as well as the shelters. It took quite a bit of effort to get this ball rolling, but we finally got it going. In addition to that, we've increased our engagement on social media on all platforms, and we're looking to expand to TikTok shortly, hopefully before the end of the year. And also on the Connects Ed, we're going to be sending out a message to some of the students to get them interested in it. And then a little bit later, we're going to remind them that that is still available. Also, another communication we're sending out to students before the end of the week would be reminding students that attendance does matter. And Adrian was really helpful in crafting that message. So that's going to go out to students as well.
Great, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Sagai or her team on those updates? All right, great. Thank you very much. All right, so next order of business is to approve the minutes from the September 2024 College Senate meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes? Gordon, thank you. Second, Jason Perry, thank you. Questions, comments, or discussion on the minutes from September? Any objections? Okay, so with that, they will pass by consent. Thank you very much. Next up for old business, we have our governance committee, Michael Rio.
So governance just has a quick update on vacancies. Those are included in the documents for the meeting. We have 6 faculty vacancies. If you know anyone that might be interested in participating in College Senate, please let them know that they should do that with us. I will send out emails to those divisions and campuses that do have those vacancies, but we will fill those, first come, first serve if there's no one from those divisions available. And a quick reminder that if anyone does have a scheduling conflict with College Senate, just let us know. We can get appointments in those seats and figure out a way to get you back involved with Senate if you have a teaching conflict when Senate meets. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Anyone have questions for Michael? Okay. All right, so we already did the enrollment update under old business, so I'm going to skip past that, and we're going to move to Academic Standards Committee that I co-chair with Dean Amy Yoder. Amy, you want to take that?
Sure can. Good afternoon, everyone. So we just had 3-week rosters go out, and we used some new language on the memos that went out that gave better clarifying information on what constitutes non-attendance in a course. We are looking for feedback, so if you have any questions or concerns or comments that you would like to send, please feel free to send them to myself or Colleen Quinn. I spoke with Andy today, and he is working on numbers for those, so we have a better understanding of that. To further expand to what we're looking to do with this subcommittee is still continue some work. We want to do help with outreach to students, particularly those that are going to be NA'd from classes, as well as the communication piece to send students after they've been NA'd from a class so that they are aware. So please feel free to send any comments or concerns to Colleen or myself, and we'll be sure to compile those for the committee. Additionally, I'm going to combine 2 and 3. We have 2 subcommittees that are forming to review the first initial draft of the Student Code of Conduct based on some of the new changes that have come down from SUNY, as well as the adjudication the board policies that we have done updates on as well. So if you're interested in participating in that, please reach out to myself. We'll get you scheduled. I swear it's painless. This is just draft 1, so we're just looking for our community feedback. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Amy. Does anyone have any questions about the upcoming work of academic standards? So again, we need people to participate in these task forces, and the more eyes across different disciplines that see these things, the more likely we are to make sure that there aren't errors, make sure that we have as much feedback as possible from faculty and staff across the college, because if there's an area that I'm not familiar with and it's just me looking at it, I'm not going to know what I don't know, right, until it comes up after the fact. So like Amy said, it's not a heavy lift at this point. We're looking for eyes to look over it, let us know what we're missing, let us know what may not need to be there or anything like that. So please reach out for that. General Education Committee and Diversity Committee, Andy Heisey.
Yeah, so we've been getting busier as the semester's gone on. We continue to look at the SUNY Erie ILOs in order to better align those with both SUNY itself and also guidance we've got from Middle States. We are currently considering an additional class for DEISJ. That is a course out of criminal justice. The Diversity Committee met to talk that over and issue some guidance for revisions to that. The General Education Committee itself will meet this week and will be taking a vote on whether or not to add that to the DEISJ category. Finally, we are beginning the process of the communications assessment that we'll be assessing for both communications outcomes for SUNY Erie and also for the SUNY Gen Ed communications outcome.
Great, thank you. And also last meeting, we talked about the SUNY survey with DEISJ, civil disobedience, there was a survey that went out through Gen Ed. Was there any updates on that?
Well, it went through Gen Ed. We actually got that from Kathy Colesto directly, who had said, hey, get whatever responses to this you can. I know that the CWCC also collected responses and issued a response as sort of a collated whole. I don't know about the outreach overall. Like I said, we got that directly from Kathy, so I'm assuming that it would have come from her to wherever else it went.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, any questions regarding our diversity committee or general education? Okay, Chancellor's Awards, Jackie Bossman.
Colleen, you might be able to remind me. I don't know if we have any immediate updates on Chancellor's Awards Committee or for Chancellor's Awards Committee for this meeting. Just a continued reminder that we are open to communicating about nominees. If you know of anyone whom you might think is worthy of a Chancellor's Award nomination, then you can reach out to either one of us and we can discuss that process. And as we conclude this semester, in the coming months, we'll continue to put that reminder out. And just to speak briefly, too, about the submission process, another reminder is that we have a handful of nominations left over from last year, which is a really good problem to have. I mean, it's not a problem. It's just one of those things you say. But, yeah, any questions?
All right, great. Thank you, Jackie. So again, that's a really nice problem to have, as she said, that we have a queue of individuals that have been nominated across the college. The committee will be reaching out to those that have made nominations to, if there's any packets that aren't complete, things like that. And then, of course, if anyone has any questions, Jackie and Colleen are your people. Last under old business is the Teagle Planning Grant. Dr. Sabrina Kane.
Okay, well, just to remind everyone that November 21st, we're going to have a half-day retreat. The venue someplace on the ECC campus is to be announced. It will start at noon, and we will have Patrick Kenny from Onondaga Community College to come in and be the keynote speaker, and he'll be talking about how they had a similar plan that they implemented at their institution. And it's basically for those people who teach general education classes who are interested in being part of a big initiative to have great questions curriculum across general education classes, with the hope that we're going to see our students make some sense out of these classes instead of seeing them as these sort of discrete units that they have to take because somebody told them to take these classes, to see some continuity of education between the different sections involved in the program.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Sabrina regarding the Teagle grant? All right, so again, that's November 21st is the half-day retreat with more information coming out via email. And then we'll have another Senate meeting prior to that as well that we can also share additional information. Is there any other old business that anyone has before we move on to new business? All righty then, new business. There is a mental health resolution that came out of the Faculty Caucus of the Senate. Let me try to find it. All right, this is something that we spoke about at previous meetings. All right, so in order to discuss, we're going to need a motion on the floor to approve the resolution. Once it's seconded, then we can discuss, ask questions, and move forward from that. So I would like a motion to approve the SUNY Erie College Senate resolution on establishing physical mental health counseling centers at all SUNY Erie campuses. I have a motion. Jackie Bossman, second. Ashley, thank you very much. All right, so the motion to approve is on the floor. I know I've had several people reach out regarding different things, so this is our opportunity to discuss. I want me to give a brief want to give a brief, I don't know, anything? I don't know. I mean, it's been talked about. I'll put the resolves at the bottom there and just kind of, and go from there. Amy Spahn, I saw a hand.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Amy Spahn. I'm a counselor at the college. I'm one of 2 senators that represent the 16 counselors at our institution. I work in the Student Support Center, which is commonly, or at least at times, referred to as the counseling office. Today, a big part of my job is to recruit students, and today I went to Tonawanda High School in North Tonawanda as well, and I had about 35 minutes. I thought I wanted to remember 1 or 2 things to say today, but it turned out to be a bit more than that, so I have my chicken scratch here. So bear with me. I do have some things I'd like to share. At various points in the document, it refers to the development of a new counseling center, and I just wanted to give some feedback about that. I attended the meeting 2 weeks ago for Faculty Caucus. It was about an hour long where we discussed some of the ideas mentioned in the document. And I was really happy that we talked about this as a group, but I do feel that as it is, the document and topic as a whole needs further discussion.
Amy, could you point out where in the document it says a new counseling center? I just want to make sure that I'm following along so that people can.
Sure, I did email it to you. Why don't you let me finish, and then and maybe we could do that. My reaction to the document is that there are some good thoughts, and again, I thank the group for putting this together, but that we might be putting the cart before the horse by moving forward as is. I think there's a lot to understand regarding the required licensure, the professional licensure and requirements, the insurance, the clinical supervision requirements that would be involved. And I'm concerned about the liability and cost that moving hastily with this might have to our students in particular. I'd like to recommend a motion to just sort of table this and kindly ask that we might develop a subcommittee to further develop some of the ideas into achievable actions. In order to make informed decisions about how we can successfully deliver mental health services, perhaps we should first obtain some advice. For instance,
Really quickly, while you're getting your thoughts together, I'm going to have Tom Webb please define what it means to table a resolution as our bylaw, what is it? Parliamentarian. Thank you, Tom.
I thought it might be wise for us to.
Nope, hang on.
Oh, can I?
I'm not sure tabling it would be the appropriate thing. Is there a committee that has been dealing with this or not? I'm confused.
Right, because tabling would kill this.
Would kill the motion.
Indefinitely.
Indefinitely. So I think maybe it's better to refer it to a committee or to lay it aside temporarily to discuss it with a set future date to come back. Otherwise, if you table it, you have to take it off the table before you do anything with it.
Right. And of course, as senators, you can make motions for whatever it is you need to do, but we also want to make sure we're educating you as far as language as we're talking about these things. Tabling will kill it indefinitely.
So I
You may
appreciate that.
continue.
Thanks. I'm a new senator. This is my second meeting, so I appreciate the advice. So I thought it would be smart of us to first evaluate what we do that is good. For instance, we have health services. If we were to, in the future, expand the services we offered, we wouldn't open an additional health services office. We would learn to develop what we already have. I think that we need to have a formal consultation with folks from SUNY Legal, our senior executive staff, SUNY leadership, and then also make note of the fact that we don't have a current vice president of student affairs right now who would, I presume, be chief at the development of such a new branch of student services. And lastly, to collect the voices of our student leaders, student engagement on this particular process would be important. I'd also say that collaboration with other SUNY community colleges without dorms would be important to learn best practices from them. Perhaps exploring solutions with our big sisters at UB, consulting with the educational psychology people, the counseling and educational psychology department, UBMD, psychiatry, who would likely be on an advisory board if we were to move forward with this path. And lastly, I thought we might want to develop ideas about what we would want to do immediately that would be free or no cost to our college as we develop these ideas. Signage, safe spaces, mental health first aid training through our HR portal in Percipio, for example. In closing, let's make cost-conscious recommendations supported by research and shared governance. And I just think that we need more time, knowledge, and expertise to make good decisions as a group.
All right, thank you,
Thank
Amy.
you.
Other comments and questions? Amy Yoder.
I also concur with Amy Spahn. I do think this needs to be fleshed out more. We do have Erie Connects. I would like to make a motion, at least initially on this, that we remove the whereas the OASIS app does not provide adequate support for students who need immediate in-person attention. That is not the intention of the app, so that shouldn't be on here.
Okay, so Amy, would you like to make a motion to strike, I have it highlighted up here, whereas the OASIS app does not provide adequate support for a student who needs immediate in-person attention?
That is correct.
Second, Jason Perry. All right, so discussion on this motion of striking what I have highlighted up here. Adium?
Just a thought, right? Have we surveyed our students? We haven't surveyed our students. So I think one of the things that I think is important, let me just say this, I believe in this idea that wellness, right? Holistic wellness, including mental health and all the things that our students and our society in general has been dealing with is important, and we have to focus on it. But I do want to stress the fact that we have not done, at least not to my knowledge, unless the committee in some sort did that survey for students, but we have not surveyed our students. We will be surveying our students. I know we had SUNY survey our students last semester, and the percentage of our students that participated in that survey was less than 5%. So I think we need to do the survey of our students to make sure that we are talking about the need that they are looking for us to support them as it relates to this.
Okay, thank you. Other discussion on striking the statement with the OASIS app? Yeah.
I would say just to Adium's point, all the resources, can you scroll down to the bottom? Well, we don't have a survey for our student body, which is a great point. I think, I don't know who would be in charge of sending that out or creating one, but we have support from the governor, support from FCCC, and then of course, you know, all the data that supports community colleges in particular, in general, and then higher education and the desire and need for this type of support on campus.
I 100% agree. No question about that, but I think it's important that we survey our students. I could tell you the meetings that I had with students in terms of their listening session, they have a thought and they have an idea of what they want and how they want to be served. So I think it's critical. I 100% agree to have, and I think that's what Amy's point is, that we have to do the research, in which we have some of it here, but I think it's important that we hear our student and their voices, and from the little times that I've spent with them, they have a lot to say. I think we just have to do that. And who is responsible to send the survey is the IRAP department is going to send that survey, so we are working on that to send out a survey so that we have it, and then we will share the result of that survey.
Perfect, thank you. So the current motion on the floor is to strike the whereas with the OASIS app. So if you have comments specifically about striking this sentence, I will entertain those, because that's the current motion, and then once we pass this or whatever, vote on this motion, then we will move to the general resolution. Sabrina and then Chris.
So if I understand the objection correctly, it's that the Oasis app was never intended to provide help to students who need immediate in-person attention. But that's exactly what the resolution, the whereas says, and I think the point of it being there is just so that people who did think the Oasis app did that, to make it clear that it doesn't do that. It's not really saying anything bad about the Oasis app or that we should not use the Oasis app, it's just saying that it doesn't fulfill this need.
Thank you, Sabrina. Chris?
Yeah, just to make the distinction, of course, we want the students' input, and if we ask if they want more support in terms of mental and emotional well-being, they're going to say yes. I would want research about the effectiveness of Oasis and the likelihood that it specifically is helping, and that's where I'd want some data for best practices.
Okay. Andy, did I see?
Yeah, basically the same thing. There has to be some research out there in regards to how effective apps like Oasis are. It seems like it would be a good direction to go in here as we decide whether or not to strike that.
Derek?
Maybe, I don't know words. The point we want to make is that we do not have adequate support for students who need immediate in-person attention. Maybe that's what we're trying to say here, without labeling Oasis, in which case maybe it's we want to rewrite it.
So just to clarify, so Derek's suggestion possibly is to, instead of striking the entire sentence, is to remove the Oasis app. All right, so that's a separate motion. So what we can do at this point, I'm making Tom work hard today to make sure I'm running this correctly. We can vote on the current motion as is to strike, and then move forward to create a second motion to edit the sentence if we keep the sentence in. So that's kind of where we're at. Kim, do you have something to say about the Oasis app sentence only? That is the motion on the floor. The Oasis app motion only sentence is the current motion on the floor. Okay, so hang on to your thought. All right, Amy.
I would accept that as a friendly amendment to the motion that I originally stated.
Okay, so friendly amendment to the original motion of striking this sentence is we will edit the sentence as per Derek's suggestion to just remove the 3 words, the Oasis app. So that is the motion, friendly amended. Do I need a second friendly amended? Do we need that? All right, Tom seconds the friendly amendment. All right, regarding that sentence, we're removing, the motion is to remove the words Oasis app. I don't know how to do anything clever on this thing to strike it. I know there's a strike thing. Oh, look at that. Would we, all right, that's a good question. So the question on the floor is, would we replace it with a different word?
You might want to keep it in line and just say SUNY Erie does not provide. Keep it consistent.
All right, so the motion on the floor before we go back to discussion of the entire resolution is to approve the edit of this whereas, removes the Oasis app, because that was also, as pointed out, the Oasis apps was not its original intent. So we'll say SUNY Erie in place of that. It's been, the motion's been, whatever, first and seconded. The discussion on the floor. Any other discussion on the floor regarding that specific sentence? Amy?
Maybe we would just say SUNY Erie does not provide mental health counseling. And
I believe that's kind of touched upon in the other whereas statements. Yeah, you have to be called on. So to Amy's point, that is already stated. Which one? Yep. So that is already stated in the resolution specifically. I don't know your name, but you have to go to the microphone. Sorry, I can't. Is that Crystal?
Hello, I'm Shar. I am
Oh,
the
Shar.
Director of Assessment and Accreditation with the IRAP department. My suggestion would be exactly what Amy stated before, is that the OASIS app is not intended to provide adequate support. So we're still acknowledging that we have OASIS. We're not saying that we as SUNY Erie are not providing this. We're just acknowledging that it is not intended to be used that way.
Thank you very much. Kim, do you have a statement about that sentence? Okay, so I'm just going to pause on, we're still working on the sentence. All right, so do we want to leave it as, so the motion is SUNY Erie does not provide adequate support. There was a suggestion to leave OASIS app in to say that it is not intended to provide. Leave it as is? All right, we're going to leave it as is because there's no motion to amend that. All right, so discussion on that sentence is complete. Any objections to the sentence? All right, no objections to the sentence. I am going to accept the edit. Do you have an objection to the sentence, Kim?
Yes.
What is your objection to the sentence, Kim? This
There are
sentence.
offices that do provide, when it's needed, immediate in-person attention to a student when the student presents. Because that statement is encompassing of all services by all departments at the college if it's worded that way, correct?
Amy?
We do not have licensed mental health counselors at the college that are employed in that capacity, so no.
Okay, thank you. Jackie Bossman and then Michael Rio.
Right, I think it comes down to defining adequate support. And if the concept of adequate support in this resolution is defined by licensure, then that's where the negation is honest.
Thank you. Michael Rio?
Yeah, I think there just needs to be clarification that it's mental health support that's being addressed in that sentence. Correct, Kim?
Yes. Or required licensed mental health.
So adequate licensed mental health support.
Kim, are you making a motion to amend this sentence?
Yes.
All right, you're going to have to wait until we pass this or not, and then go from there. Okay? So, the motion on the floor is to approve only this sentence in this resolution, not the resolution, just the sentence. Are there any objections to the sentence? It is passed by consent. Now, the entire resolution is back up for discussion in its entirety, okay? That edit has been made. Tom Webb. Okay, so Tom Webb has a motion on the floor to postpone this resolution, I want to make sure I'm using the right words, to a later date because there's going to be the creation of a committee to go through this with a finer eye. Is that the motion?
That's the motion, or the chair may be able to just do it.
I like the motion.
Okay, that's what I figured.
I'm good with the motion.
Okay.
All right, so that's the motion, is to postpone to a later date. We do need to say a later date as per the bylaws. So I'm going to say, do you have a date in mind? December Senate meeting to come back?
That's fine with me.
All right, so the motion on the floor is to postpone discussion of this resolution to the December 2024 College Senate meeting. And in the meantime, a committee/task force will be formed to go through this resolution further? Second on the motion, Gordon. Discussion on the motion to postpone till December with a committee being formed in the middle. Jackie Blossman and then Amy Yoder.
Okay, I think my only concern about that is that it would put us 2 months into maybe the weeds, right? And trying to make some meaningful contribution to progress in the way of mental health services at Erie Community College, right? Especially if that committee or task force, whatever it might be, would need to be, of course, like filled with volunteers to do primarily wordsmithing. And if that were the case, then I think it would be a waste of time.
Thank you, Jackie. Amy Yoder?
Can I answer her first?
Sure.
So let me just come back to that. I think we have to be very mindful and respective of how important this is to students and have all of the information and do it in the correct way. I am 100% not against this whatsoever, but I want to do it right instead of just rushing it through to have it, boilerplate somewhere. Can I suggest a friendly amendment to the motion that was just made?
Sure.
That the committee is chaired by the Erie Connects team, who is myself and Dan Frontera, who head emotional support on campus.
All right, so a motion to amend the original motion for the committee. Tom,
Too procedural.
parliamentarian, thank you,
Yeah,
Tom.
Tough day today. I think any committee requires a faculty member. Okay, just so.
All right, so the amendment, the motion to amend, the motion to post, my God. All right, the motion to amend, the motion to postpone is the resolution will come back to the floor in December 2024. In the interim, there will be a committee to review. That committee will be chaired by Erie Connects team and a faculty member to review. Faculty as defined by the FFECC contract. I did not say teaching faculty. So the motion is just to amend who is on the chair of the committee. Kim, are you seconding it? Because I haven't, all right, I need a second before we can discuss. Jackie Blossman. All right, so the motion amends chair of the committee to be the Erie Connects team and a faculty member, faculty as defined by the FFECC contract, not a teaching faculty. All of the people in the FFECC contract defined as faculty. Discussion on the thing. Kim, you have to go to the microphone. Amy, you had it. Oh, Eric, somewhat different.
I completely agree with all the conversation. Point of maybe clarity or recommendation. I know we called it a committee. Would this be better served as a task force, which would then allow for a specific focus, not only through wordsmith, but also maybe look at resources that we could then implement. And I think a task force has a specific sunset date that's assigned to it. So then you could say, if it's a task force, that task force can be disbanded once a resolution is brought forward to the Senate at the December meeting.
All right, Eric, friendly amendment to change the word committee to task force? All right.
That's correct.
Does anyone object to that? All right, the word task force versus committee.
Yes, I guess my.
So Amy Spahn, the task force versus committee comments, please.
I guess my comment would be that this is something we hope to have forever. And so would it make sense to have a committee?
Well, that could also come out of the task force. That could be one of, so if we have a task force, we can get immediate business done quicker, and then the task force will report out with whatever the resolution is and any other recommendations, and the any other recommendations can be we need a permanent committee. Does that clarify?
Yes, and I have another comment. Is there a reason why we would limit the group to such a small number?
We haven't limited the group yet. We're just talking about the
Folks.
chairs. Just the chairs. Just the chairs. Erie Connects and a faculty member. Just the chairs is in the motion currently, not the actual task force itself makeup. Just the chairs of the task force. We changed the word committee to task force, and just the chairs are Erie Connects team with a faculty member. We haven't gotten to the body of the task force yet. So the motion is to approve the chairs as Erie Connects and a faculty member. So comments on just that component? Yes.
I'm not sure, but are the counselors part of faculty?
They
So
sure are.
Okay. so
They sure are. They are defined in the
just wanna make sure
FFECC
that- 'cause I
contract as
think that's
faculty.
important
Yep,
component
like
to have on.
librarians, counselors, teaching faculty. So that's where make sure I'm very specific to not use the words teaching faculty, so that FFECC defines faculty as all of them, everybody, counselors, librarians, teaching faculty, and probably some other things that I'm missing because I'm trying to not lose track of things. So the motion on the floor is to approve the chairs / co-chairs of this task force as Erie Connects team with a faculty member. That is the motion on the floor. Any other comments about that specific motion on the floor? Any objections to that specific? Kim, you have an objection. What's your objection, Kim?
Okay, not necessarily an objection, but can a motion be made to address that motion, to elaborate on it, to address the membership of the
No.
task force or subcommittee?
That's next. The motion.
Are we determining that today?
The motion, you're out of line. Let me finish, okay? I have to call on you if you want to talk. All right, the motion on the floor is for just the chairs, Erie Connects team, faculty member. That is the motion on the floor for this creation of this task force. Any objections to that specifically? If there's no objections to that specifically, we're back to the original motion, which is creation of the task force. The task force will meet with the chairs, which have just been approved to be the Erie Connects team and a faculty member. We'll figure out who that is later. Their job between now and December is going to be to go through this resolution and come up with a different resolution or whatever, maybe it's the same thing, whatever they decide, plus other recommendations from that body. So the motion on the floor is to postpone, because we're going to have the task force take care of this between now and December. That is the motion on the floor. Is there comments about the motion on the floor to postpone till December? Sabrina?
Okay, so if I understand the difference between a resolution versus, say, a change in policy or a change in procedure is that a resolution isn't really binding to anything. It is just the really strong expression of an opinion of a certain body of people. Now, I hear the very valid concerns of both Amy's that we have a lot of work to do on this, and a lot of work involves research and planning, and that the more time that we spend fussing around with the wording of this resolution, the less time that we actually spend on getting something done about the issue. So I kind of think it's crazy to put off this resolution. I think we've made our point.
So Sabrina, you are correct in the fact that a resolution is not a binding anything. It is a strong recommendation. The College Senate is also a recommending body to the President's office. So yes, that's what this resolution is. It's not going to be a policy. It's not going to go to anything beyond that. But to answer your question, yes, it's a strong suggestion. Kim, and then Amy, and then Eric.
And potentially the hiring of a new VP of Student Services, would they then, could a motion be made that that person be added on to this task force or committee as
We
a
haven't
chair or co-chair?
created the membership of the task force has not been created.
But we're determining who the co-chairs are going to be, or the chairs are going to be.
That's
within-
on there.
So within a Student Services or the VP of that area, overall, the college be a part of that?
I would imagine.
So shouldn't that be an open space for that person to be able to join on once they're hired or whomever?
So Kim,
that
would you
will
like
be?
to make a resolution, a motion
motion.
to form the membership of the task force right now? Name all the people right now who should be on the task force? Is that your motion?
What time is it?
3:37.
Possibly? Yes.
Okay, so name them. Give me the names. Who do you want on the task force?
So there should be a vacant position for whomever the VP of Student Services is going to be. So Amy and Dan, a council representative, a faculty representative, someone from the opportunity programs should be represented.
Can you name the opportunity programs, like which ones?
EOP, Student Access, Say Yes, some of the mental health programs that come out of city campus located there, perhaps EAL.
All right, so for
Not to
that
grow-
motion, we're going to need very specific names.
So this is just off the top of my head, just because I'm
Okay.
asked, but to the point of research and discussion needs to happen deeper about this, and the membership is the point.
Okay, so because we do not have very specific lists, I'm going to suggest tasking the task force chairs to come up with the list of individuals. And those of you in this room who are very interested and have very strong opinions about who should be on this task force, you email them. Amy Spahn, and then Eric.
I would say importantly that our friends in IRAP should be involved because this involves so much research and formal consultation. We need so much information. And Jackie and Sabrina, I agree with you, and I'm concerned that we are continuing to do nothing, and that's, all of this work is so important, but I do still think that there are things that we can do for free or little cost, but we need to be organized to do that. And so if there was a committee, for instance, we could start to bring about some changes, like starting to get all of our staff and faculty trained in mental health first aid, for instance, and starting to get signage and supportive environments on our campuses. There are things we can do with the resources we have.
All right, so I'm going to just stop you, no offense, but the motion on the floor is to approve the committee to do this work, not dictate what the work of the committee is going to be, because we're at 3:40. And all those are great, valid points, and I appreciate all the concerns and things like that. The motion on the floor is to approve the task force to postpone this resolution to December and let the task force do their work. That is the motion on the floor. Comments about this motion on the floor? Eric, you had a comment before.
You actually just stated what my comment was going to be, have the task force do that, so thank you.
Okay, all right. Amy?
I just want to respond to Sabrina.
Okay.
I agree that it is a resolution, but again, I think we want to be very mindful and have the correct language. I put a lot of credence to this resolution because it's very hard to create policy and procedures without forming these task force, for having a resolution to start the discussions, to have the bigger conversation. So I think this is an excellent document and a good start that was made, but I think there's elements that are missing that should be in the resolution.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Kylie Knox?
So I just want to clarify, just more of a question. So this is to create a task force to modify this document, to bring it back in December with those modifications, and then the how will come after that. Like, the committee and everything that Amy's talking about. Cool, just making sure we're on the same page.
Thank you for that clarification. All right, so again, the motion on the floor is to postpone this resolution until December at the College Senate. And in the interim, there will be a task force that will be chaired by the Erie Connects team and a faculty member to do that work. The task force, well, that's the motion. Discussion on that specific motion. Objection on that specific motion. All right, I'm going to say that has been passed by consent. So we are postponing this resolution until December. There will be a task force which was just created with all of those motions. We know the chairs will be Erie Connects and a faculty member. If you are a faculty member and want to be the co-chair of that committee, faculty as defined by the FFECC contract, not just teaching faculty, please reach out to myself and you can be the co-chair. If you have very strong feelings about who should be represented on this task force, also please email me, but please use specific office names. I need specifics. I can't say some of this from this campus or some of that from this campus. I need the specific titles, the specific office names, those things. All right? It is a task force that is going to only be doing work for 2 months. And if you are like, but me, Colleen Quinn, math teacher wants to be on it, cool, let me know. Me, Colleen Quinn, math teacher, does not want to be on there. Now I'm talking about myself in the third person. So I prefer to just not be that. But if that's you and you want to be on it, then email me, okay? This is not trying to be exclusive at all as far as makeup of this task force. So if you have very strong feelings about who should be on the task force, email me with the very specific titles, offices, etc. If you yourself has very strong feelings and you want to be on the task force, email me and you got it, you're on it, all right? Does that make sense? Questions about that? Because I feel like we don't need to make a motion and pull up every single office in the college to create who's going to be on this task force, right? Like, I feel like that's a waste of our time. If you want to be on it, you're on it. Email me, and that's all you got to do, and you're on it, okay? I gotta find the agenda. All right, so since that has been approved to be postponed, that is going to end discussion on that for today. Again, it is on individuals watching and individuals in the room to email me specifics as far as who you want on the task force. And then Erie Connects team will get a meeting together for all of those folks, and they will start that work between now and December. Does anyone have any other new business? All right, so with that, I gotta pull up my calendar. The next College Senate meeting will be on Tuesday, November 12th in this room, the day after Veterans Day. So ahead of Veterans Day, thank you to all our veterans that are faculty, staff, and our students that are vets. And I'm going to close the open portion of the meeting, and then we will move into, for the good of the order, off camera. So see everybody in November, and then when Bob tells me